You want to practice in front of a mirror. You also want to stand up when you're practicing this script rather than slouching or laying down. Can you hear a person slouching in their chair when you're on the phone? Can you hear them when they're laying down? Okay, the best way to have confidence and be able to do a strong presentation is to stand up. Square your shoulders, feel good, think happy thoughts. All right, so we're there on the lead sheet. All right, and it happened to be what? One more time for the slow folks?
25.
All right, page 25. Boy, there's a lot of scripts in here, a lot of good information. All right, on this lead sheet, your goal is to fill this out. When you fill it out, the next thing you should do is to fax it or email it to Russ or Rock. Because if it's a deal, guess what? You just sold it. If it's not a deal, we'll tell you how to negotiate it. We'll tell you what price it's going to take for us to be able to buy. How many of you would like to have your deal pre-structured? Yeah. All right, well, okay, it's not going to be a cash deal. This looks like it's going to be an AX deal. The way we're going to structure it is like this. It looks like it'll be a lease option. We'll do this. This is what the cash flow is going to be. How many of you would like to have that kind of information? Yeah. Well, you got to send it to us. You got to fill it out completely. Do not send us something that doesn't have an address, that doesn't, because we got to do our due diligence. Make sense? Question?
Do we need to have this under contract before we send it to you?
I don't know. Rock, what do you think? Nah. But if you're sending it to other investors, you better have it under contract, especially if you give them the address. All right? So, these questions are pretty easy, and they're simple. All right? Locating them. All right? What we're doing here is, why do we care about the repairs? Does anybody have an idea? Well, it deals with the price, exactly. Because that's an expense that somebody's going to have to pay. And we also need to know what the value is. Notice that I asked specifically, does it need any repairs? How many people have you ever met that have told you, I live in a complete dump? I have rats running through the house. I have holes in the roof. Anybody? No. Neither have I. Have I ever gone to houses that had rats and holes? You better believe I did. And my favorite one is, and you need to talk to Steve Jordan. His favorite story is that he tells a story of where he went in and was going to do a wholesale presentation, and before he sat down, he took his contract that he was going to write and he swept the roaches off the couch before he sat down. And he zipped up his briefcase quickly after he pulled the contract out. All right? For those of you that have a weak stomach, you might want to do that presentation on the porch. All right. If they're not going to tell you that it's a complete piece of trash, you have to drill into it, because otherwise they're not going to tell you. So these are the questions. All right? Now, this one right here is very important, because this is a negotiation tool. How many of you would like to learn to negotiate without ever negotiating and still get a great price? This right here, and Rock's already given you a couple other negotiating tools that you don't need to negotiate with. You just ask. All right, here's another one. Because if they know that the house is going to take $20,000 in order to repair, they're going to have to come down on the price, right? They know that, so that's important. All right, why do we ask this? Now, this is a scary thing for most of the people that are in the room. If the house was in the best possible condition, what would it sell for? The reason that you ask that is you want to know what the top of the value is, what the after repair value is. All right, now, what I'm about to say is going to scare your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind will get it. All right? How many of you believe that how many of you in the room right now know the value of your house? Okay, yeah. Heck yeah. Because it's the number one asset. All right? For those of you, how many of you know what the value of your automobile is right now? Why? Because it's the largest asset. Are you with me? Now, you feel that somebody's going to lie to you and tell you that their house is worth more than it really is. Is that a fair statement? Is that your fear? Absolutely. But here's the deal. If they lie to me, and I say this statement, relying on the words that I use, based on the information you have given me now, I am able to pay you this amount. Will it work for you? Right? And some of that, I can see it in your eyes. You're still afraid. But here's the deal. If I go in and I do the comps, you better believe I'm going to do my own due diligence. All right? So what happens is I show up. They say the house is worth $200. It just happens to be worth $150. Am I buying? Am I still at the same price? No, seller went and did my comps. I found out that what the area is selling for is this amount. Do you want to see them? I'll show them to them. All right, and then, by the way, my company requires me to have to make a 15% profit. And my company requires me to only pay 60 cents of the value of the property. Did you see that? My company is bad. And let me tell you, they are vicious. All right? Understand that, did I just talk my way out of that situation in a non-confrontational way? Do I feel okay?
Yeah.
Do you as the seller feel okay?
Yeah.
Right, now, can the seller tell you no?
Yep.
Absolutely. And then what do?
Leave.
You run and flee and just start singing because you dodged a bad deal. Well, you know something that I've learned in my career? That a bad deal that you never buy doesn't hurt you. You might want to write that down. All right. So the next thing is that what is your reason for selling? This is very important because this gets you the creative financing deals. All right? Very important on creative financing. All right, how quickly are you looking to sell? Very important for creative financing because this shows motivation. Is that a true statement? Right. All right. What have you done? This is a great pain question. Well, I had it with a realtor, and that realtor didn't do anything. All they did was just list it and post it up on the FMLS, and that's all they did. They never came out. They never had. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So then your comment should be, do you know that there are only 2 reasons why houses don't sell? And what's the other one? Marketing. There was a woman that had a Cadillac, 1965 Cadillac. Everybody picture that? Okay, is that worth something nowadays? Convertible. It had the fins, it was really sharp. All right, cool thing is she was going through a divorce and her husband was going to get half of everything in the portfolio. So you know what she did? She sold that Cadillac for $100. But it took her 4 weeks to do it. And the reason it took her 4 weeks to do it was she didn't know how to market. When she figured it out, she sold it in one day. My point that I'm bringing up is when you have this question, you calmly say that little speech I gave you. And immediately what happens? They start smelling the coffee and they realize they might be a little overpriced. Right? Question?
On repairs for a beginner wholesaler, is there a rule of thumb you can use to kind of get an idea how much repair is going to cost?
Excellent question. The rules that I use are very simple. It is $10 a square yard, excuse me, $10 a square foot for light repairs. Paint, carpet. Paint in, paint out, carpet, countertop, that's it. All right, so you take 2,000 square foot house and $10 a square foot, you got about 20 grand. All right, 1,000 square feet, 10 grand. All right, now, that's on the high side. All right, but that's okay. On the other side, if you got a roof, and what I'm going to talk to you about real quick is the Big 5. Big 5. All right, does anybody have an idea what the Big 5 is?
HVAC siding.
Okay, siding is nothing.
Water in the basement.
Okay, so it is the foundation, and then the next level up is your HVAC, electrical and plumbing, and then your roof. And that's it. All right? So let me just tell you a slight sidebar so that they can work on the camera and I won't lose your attention. What happens is this, that as you're going through this information with your people, let's talk about some of the marketing that I've used in order to get the people to pay attention. All right? There is a piece of marketing that I used that has a wanted flyer on it.
Yeah.
Which page is that on? 17. 17? Okay, let's turn over to page 17 in the workbook, because I don't want to skip over that. You remember when I was talking about being the stealth investor? This is the one that I use. All right? Now, I want you to know that I have bird dogs and other people that go out and actually do this labor for me, because my time is better spent having lunch with beautiful people. Anybody up for that?